Welcome back. You're now watching the political segment on the weekend show. Today we will be discussing the perception of the Nigerian police force and the 30% success rate in the recent recruitment process. Now, it has been reported by the Police Service Commission that in recent recruitment exercise, only 30% of the candidates were successful. Now, this has been blamed on poor academic performance. Today we will be discussing the perception of the Nigerian police force as well as the failure rate in the recent recruitment exercise. On the show with me today we have High Chief Michael Kayode Ajayi, a public and political analyst. Welcome back on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Also, we have Felix Adetowumbo, President of GAI and the Public Affairs Analyst. Welcome back as well.
Thank you.
It's good to have return guests.
Thank you so much.
On the show. The Nigerian police force, I think since the 40s or the 50s, had this logo, this motto, the police is your friend. But talking about the perception of the police, we have a lot of grievances generally when we talk about the police because some people see them from the area of harassment or inefficiency. But a major question we should ask ourselves is about the quality of people in the Nigerian police force. Now, with the recent recruitment, we heard that only 30% of the people who applied have passed. What's your initial take on this conversation? And we'll start with you, Chief Michael.
Thank you very much. Well, the 30% I would say that is a very sad thing for us to discover that out of those who sat for the exam, only 30% of them passed. And when you see such outcome, you have to trace it back to the poor educational system we have. We are yet to improve on it. And it is traceable to the grassroots management of educational system in Nigeria. I'm talking here of the local governments, the state governments, where the young ones are being developed. That nursery where we bake the individuals, we have not really invested in it. You go to most of the local government areas, you don't even see the chairman. As soon as they get the federal allocation, they disappear from their offices. Most of the schools under their supervision are not developed. And the same thing goes to the state government. They spend more of their resources in pursuing their political career rather than trying to improve the educational infrastructure of the states. Of recent, I think one of the state governors in the north, that is Governor El-Rufai, was also shocked with the kind of products coming out of the school system. And he decided to tackle it in his own way by looking at those who really impart the education. Those who really bake them, are they also good? So he decided to set exams for them. And so a lot of people protested. But that was the right path. Because some of them don't even know arithmetic that they need to teach in the school. The English of the teacher itself is poor, who is to teach English. Then what do you expect from that kind of system? And the NUT, Nigerian Union of Teachers, need to really help government by coming out with a better curriculum that will really improve the level of our educational system. And what happened to the police is just a microcosm of what is happening in the general society. You can discover that I had an encounter with a graduate, and I read his CV, and I asked him to do an application. When I read it, I really felt sad. This is a graduate writing this kind of application that I knew how to write when I was writing the secondary school, but a graduate could hardly write. But what I'm trying to say is that the amount of money we really pump into the educational system is not enough. We need to go to high tech. If you look at the Japanese system of education or the Chinese system of it, it's so super that a young lad can do mathematics for you with a different approach that would be so a shortcut. All of them, they know it. It is the educational system that we have not really improved upon. Rather, we concentrate on more politics, poor infrastructure. If you go to your old school, I don't know where you did your alma mater. My own alma mater was so terrible that we had to call ourselves together to see how we can improve the infrastructure. Most of the classes don't even have roofs. The storm, some section of the country, when there's a storm, it leaves the roof, nobody goes there anymore. Some of them start learning under that tree. If somebody is getting his education under a tree, not for fun, let's go out of the class to have a fresh air and so on. But now they are being compelled by the negligence of this educational system, our structures. So the neglect, most of them learning under this kind of hard condition. What do you expect from them? And it is the product, the symptom of a bad foundation that we are now seeing. And 30% of that, even being employed into the police force, if you begin to lower the standard too much, why do you have NSAS? It is the product, garbage in, garbage out. It is the bad product that you produce that is now creating crisis for the government. So, and there's need for us, both the NUC, the NUT, and those stakeholders in that area to really see how we can improve on our educational system. In addition to that, in those days, you do have Inspectorate Division of Ministry of Education. Are they really functioning? In those days, they have vehicles, they have the wherewithal to tour the states. But now, they don't even have a single vehicle. I visited one of the states. They don't even have vehicles to even make a tour of the interior of their states. When we were in school in those days, if they tell us that the inspectors are coming, all the teachers will be shivering. The principal will be shivering. Everybody will be alive to his responsibility. The students will be very neat and so to impress those coming. But now they don't even come. So how is that fear to be instilled in them? And so it's just as I said, garbage in, garbage out. That is what we're having.
So Felix, I see you nodding and agreeing. So I'll just hear your initial thoughts on this same conversation.
Thank you very much. I so much agree with Chief. You see, sometimes last year, I think in June, there was this global youth development index of 180 something countries. Nigeria was rated 161. If you look at the level of education in Nigeria, last year also, 2021, the Minister of Education said over 10 million Nigerians, 10 million children are out of school. It doesn't speak well of us. There are some reports that even said, I think, 13 million children out of school. This is not speaking well of the country. The Constitution is so clear. Section 18 is so clear about the education priority of the government, which the government swore to. But at the end of the day, the government can only, bring out 7% from the budgetary allocation to education. That shows that we are not serious yet. If we are serious, we will know that. Look at the Abuja Declaration. The Abuja Declaration states clearly that 15% at least should be put into education. But where are we in Nigeria? We are still hovering between 5 to 7%, which shows our unseriousness into education. So we are not going to blame what happened according to what the PSC said. We are not going to blame those that wrote the exam, on their own. We have to bring them together with, the position of the government. What is the government doing to making sure that our education is the quality that we really want? We are not having the quality that we want. Out of many are saying that Nigerian youth are this, Nigerian youth are that. It's not the Nigerian youth. What about the government? Have they not failed in their own way? Chiefs talked about what do happen in those days that inspectors will be coming. Nobody cares about inspectors, because if inspectors come to your school and the principal did not do well, he knows that he's going to be sacked. Yeah. Even the children, they use that to even do a kind of competition between schools. Schools are being rated through that. But that does not, it's not a play anymore. So there are a lot of things we need to look at. The reason why we have the policing system that we have now, that we are scared of. You and I are scared of police. Let's be sincere. The reason is because of the kind of people we have in the system. And don't be surprised that this would have failed. I think it's even 90% of those that wrote got less than 30% of the exam, not even 30% now. They
Okay.
got less than 30%. That shows that 90% of those that wrote, they even get up to 50%.
Goodness.
Just look at the whole thing. It's quite shameful for us as a country to have people, young ones, who could not sit down and write some common exam. And don't forget, the people that applied are between the ages of 17 to 25. According to them, 17 to 25, it shows you the level of decadence in our education. If a 17-year-old child, an 18-year-old child, 20-year-old child, 25 could not write exam to get at least 50% into a national institution, then there is a problem.
How do you even write statement in police station?
So, education remains a problem. And as we said earlier on our lifestyle segment, we're talking about how education also is the foundational cause for a lot of issues which we have. But let's look at the police that we have today. Chief, you well traveled around Nigeria. You see the police barracks and you see police welfare.
Yeah.
You see their uniforms. Do you feel that it's the fact that it's not even attractive enough to get into the police force? Because we still do have a lot of undergraduates, we have some master's, postgraduate degree holders and PhD holders who in other climes would want to join the police force because it's a system which they're proud of.
Yeah.
But when you see their wages, the welfare, you see their living conditions, do you feel as a result of that, that's why is those who see the police as a final bus stop, the last option that applies? So back to the perception of the police force, do you feel it's because it doesn't look attractive to the young people to even join, and so it's people who have no other option that go for it?
Yeah, I think I agree with your opening statement about that. The police is not attractive to the best brains that ought to be in the police force. It's not attractive. When you go to their police barrack, it's an eyesore. Terrible. And I think that the Nigerian police force needs to look into this issue. Their uniform, even some of them, even when you interact with them, they tell you that they buy their uniform, which ought not to be. The uniform is a government property, should be provided by the government. The boots, the shoes, the caps, but you find them, buy them. And that's why even when you even see them on the street, they wear all kinds of T-shirts. That even when they stop you, you cannot confuse them. You will confuse them with armed robbers. And when they ask you to stop, you find it difficult. There was a time I was traveling, and the kind of people I saw, I was scared. And they were waving me to stop. I was asking myself, should I go? Should I stop? Should I go? If I try to go, they may shoot. They may shoot. So I was forced to. But when you look at the uniform, tattered and the road police, of course, armed robbers will even get a better uniform. They will get a better uniform. So there was a time, again, I think during the time of Obasanjo's administration, there was this fund that was established for the police to equip them. And that one was also corrupted by the system, and that went away. But it was a very good initiative for all stakeholders, the banks, the institutions they protect, the oil companies, and so on and so forth, to come together to harness and put some funds there to improve on the barracks, make the police salary to be attractive. You pay them pittance. Some of them, I asked one of them, say his salary is not up to 25,000 naira. And that is what you even use in buying petrol to your car. And you're expecting that kind of person not to take bribe, not to even engineer bribe, not to misbehave. So he has a family to take care of. The children go to public schools. They have to pay school fees. They go to the same market that we also go. That is the rich and the poor. And there's no market for the poor, separate market for the poor. There's no separate market for the rich. If there's a separate market for the poor, they will go there. But they go to the market where both the rich and the poor interact, and with 25,000 naira. So some of them are even, they live on credit every month.
To the minimum wage.
Yes. And so when you see a policeman, frustration is written all over his face. And even when you speak English to him, you want to prove you can speak grammar. So the problem starts from that place. So when, with my experience with them, when you stop me and you start talking, I will just be looking at you. Because for every statement I make, it leads for provocation. They will say, oh, look at this big man. talking English, they get annoyed seeing you, whereas you are not the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is the leadership of the police. You need to come out with a program, a welfare program that will take care of them. But even because these are people you put into the front line when there are crises. So, and every day, no policeman will go on operation and think he will come back. The possibility that he may not come back. He has children to take care of. He has wife. Suppose he dies in operation. How much is the insurance going to take care of? How much will he get? So these are the frustrations. This will not encourage people to join the police force, except to improve it. I went to South Africa some years ago, and I saw the uniform they were wearing. It was fantastic. Look at the cars. Beautiful. Just looking at them, the uniform alone will encourage you to join. When we were young, when you see the soldiers well dressed, when the soldiers come out of their barracks, you see the boots shining. You can even see your face in the boots. So you like to be a soldier, But look at our policemen with tattered dress. If you tell your parent that I want to go to the police force, they will discourage you right there. So I think that the leadership of the police force the current IG should take it. If it is the only legacy he's going to leave behind, that his name will be in the sands of time. He should come out with a program that will improve the barracks. Currently, the CBN is spending everywhere. The CBN, Mr. Emefiele, you can assist the police. It's not too. It's not. You have helped the country for the rights program. Whether it's successful or not is a different thing. But you, Mr. Emefiele, you can help the police. Look at all the states, 36 states, build, model, state-of-the-art barracks for them. Right. Try to see how you can improve the police force. Because this is one of the things that will encourage people to join the police. If the barrack is a home of criminals, what do you expect?
So, Felix, I like how he spoke about the leadership of the police force. We have also seen that some people at the highest echelon of power in the police force are extremely wealthy. And so there's this huge disparity between the top-ranking police officers and the lower level. And so there's the assumption that some people enter the police force knowing that the wages are low, welfare is low, but they want to, like the get-rich syndrome, which we talk about, aspire to get to that level where they can amass funds and loot within the system. How can we fix that within the police system to change this perception from the disparity between the top-level police officers and the bottom level?
You see, when there is a whole lot of gap between the haves and the have-nots, you cannot take away this survival of the fittest instinct. Just as we see it in the society, the same thing we see in the police, just as what we're saying now. If the salary structure, I don't know if it's the salary structure that make those ones to be wealthy, I don't know, or maybe there are other things. But with what we have, we can see that the president recently said he wants to increase the salary of the police, and I think they've not even started it. Every day they keep increasing with mouth, but we have not seen it, when it comes to implementation. So what the government should do to bridge that gap is to make sure that the salary and the welfare of the police is well taken care of. If not, the worst of us will keep ruling the best of us. And the best of us, just as, what's his name, Musliu Smith, the chairman of the commission, when I read a statement where he said the good people of society should be coming out, to join the police. Now, you want the good people to come, but those good people now, there is nothing to feed on. They are even doing well before coming to the system. Now you want them to come into the system, they won't come. So we keep having, don't be surprised that even those that are trying to join are the desperados. Those who have nothing to do, they just want, let me just have something. And because they know how the system operates, let me just come and maybe that would be the shortest route for me to get what I want in life. Yeah. So most of them may not really be the best of us. So we keep having the wrong people ruling us, the wrong people being in our political space, the wrong people being, in our security space. We can't get it right with that. So they have to increase the salary. And also, now that they've been able to do this and come out straight to us that this is what happened in the exam, they should maintain that level. Not that those that failed will now find a way into the system somehow. You understand? They will just see that somehow, maybe you failed, but you are there. So this is another problem we are facing. So if they can maintain that quality, then not because we need 10,000 police because of insecurity, then we should now put everybody, Dick and Harry, everyone should just come. No, we should not. They should maintain that quality and let's, go on with it. Then the welfare of the police is most important. That's what happened in 2020. We can't forget what happened during the NSAS. And what the youth keep saying is that improve the welfare of the police. But it's quite unfortunate that even the police that the youth are trying to speak for are the ones, working against the youth.
As we reel this in, Chief Michael, I recall in January we had an episode where we spoke about the fact that when the president signed the 2022 budget, he complained about some reductions made by the National Assembly, one of which was a reduction of 15 billion naira from non-regular allowances, which was allocated to the police force. So while we're talking about increasing their salaries and welfare, the National Assembly has reduced 15 billion naira, and the president has signed this into law, and everyone is quiet about it. And so let's speak to the role of the National Assembly and the lawmakers who are meant to be our representatives. They're the representation of you and I in there, and this is going on. And so how do we fix it from that level?
I think the National Assembly has disappointed us. It's unfortunate that at a time of insecurity in this country, you are taking 15 billion naira out of their fund. That is a sad commentary for me. The police needs to be encouraged. There's inflation in the country, we all know that. And at a time they need more money to live, you now cut off their allowances, their welfare packages, and so on and so forth. And just as I said in one of the programs, there's need for the police itself, the IGP, to withdraw the policemen attached to them, to their wives, to their homes, so that they can know the importance of the police. Elections are coming very soon. It's so close to us. That is when we are going to see more of insecurity. How do you curb the talks? Because the politicians, the members of National Assembly who are professional politicians, must go to the grassroots to campaign. And there are talks. These are hungry people at that level. So your security is not even guaranteed. And you are removing them. I think the members of National should be the first group to even encourage the president to add more to 15 billion rather than reducing it. So I think it's a sad commentary. The IGP should represent the 15 billion. The one they remove, they should represent it. And let us see what happens. I'm sure the president who made this complaint will be prepared to append his signature if it is represented.
Yes, Felix, what are your final words as we close this?
It's quite disheartening if we are hearing all these things, and it shouldn't be, because even with the subject we are talking to, when I first read it, the first thing that came to mind, if I had the opportunity to be there, I would have even, suggest that there should be a policing school, that will award degrees in policing.
Yes, and this happens in some countries.
Yes, it's happening in some countries where a child of 17 years, you want to be a police, just direct, like this exam being written now that is giving us a bad face, should have been an entrance exam into a police university.
Exactly.
Yes.
Where they will have a degree. You understand? These are the things our National Assembly is supposed to be proposing. Not to be reducing. Not to be reducing the allocation. These people need more. And we know that they need more. Don't forget, for us to have the best of our police must be educated. What education does to you and what it does to me is that it makes us a better person. And, you know, police relate to the people. In fact, there was, I think in the US, before Donald Trump left office, that was in 2020, he said when blacks were dying, you know, dying in the hands of the white police, and he came up with the proposition that, okay, some of these policemen should be checked, and again, they should be more educated. And this is what we also need, you know, to encourage, you know, our police to making sure that, you know, we make them the better police that we feel that is going to handle the society. Let's, you know, see our police as leaders. Let's make them to see themselves as leaders. Let them have better interaction. An educated policeman will have a better interaction with the people, not about carrying gun all the time. And even if they carry the gun, they know an educated person does not shoot anyhow. It's because of the kind of people we have. They just feel that it's nothing. So these are the things that National Assembly is supposed to be proposing to make our police better, not to be reducing their money. The money that is not even enough in the first place. It doesn't make sense.
We obviously have an institutional and structural problem to fix in most of our institutions and the country. But that's the much we can take on this segment for today. And to our viewers at home, the conversation never stops. You can follow us on social media at The Weekend Show NG on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also follow me, Andy Madaki, on all platforms. Our recordings are also on YouTube, so you can catch up with this episode on YouTube. For now, that's all we can take on today's show. Do have a lovely week and stay blessed.